and they're difficult to like.
Yeah, let's get to another franchise that is having issues. Oh boy, the Steelers. I thought after the Browns game, it's like, yes, they got it figured out. Yes, we got this.
And
oh my god. Oh my goodness. How quickly things change. Oh my god, we killed Andrew. The Steelers have killed Andrew. Andrew is
died.
gone. Oh, I thought
I maybe thought I did.
I thought Thanos snapped you out of existence or something like that.
Reduced to nothing.
Where do we want to start?
Oh my god, I don't even know where. Somebody else please start
okay,
this.
so I'm looking now at, because I just put out a poll saying what was the biggest reason why the Steelers I meant it as a tie, but it was really a loss to Detroit. The choices were play calling, Mason, the fumbles, or the defense. And fumbles is winning 39% and play calling is 31%. I would agree that the fumbles were the biggest reason, because yes, Mason was not good, but he was good enough. And
he was solid enough to win against a bad team.
Yeah.
But I feel like any of the other quarterbacks would have made better decisions and not put the ball in that position to be fumbled in the first place. So
there were some really open receivers that he just flat out missed.
And usually it was Deontay Johnson. I don't know how you're so out of sync with the number one wide receiver on the team. I don't get it.
I mean, he doesn't ever throw to him in practice.
That's true. He does. He rarely gets to work with the first team, which is, I guess, why they threw it like crazy to Ray, who is apparently the focal point of the offense.
I'll
say this.
The guy that fumbled our chances away last week.
I mean, almost, but I mean, I'll say that, like, you're on the same team. You should have some semblance of camaraderie. I wasn't surprised to see Ray kind of be as involved as he was in the offense, simply because of what you just said. It's who you practice with. 2017, Tua comes in second half of the national championship. It's nothing but freshmen out there, just because that's who we practiced with. So it makes sense to a degree. But that's college football, and this is the NFL. In the NFL, the circumstances really don't matter. You're a professional, and you've got to be A+ from the word go. And Mason wasn't always that. I wasn't heavily disappointed. I think it's difficult for him to be successful when the Steelers throw the ball 50 times a game with him at quarterback. And on the same side of that, it's understandable that you find out that you lost your quarterback a day and a half before the game. You can't just change the game plan. And Mason should be able to operate under whatever game plan Ben has, because he's not a wildly different quarterback, right? So in reality, Mason does have to shoulder some of that blame, but Mason doesn't have anything to do with Deontay Johnson fumbling the ball, and Mason doesn't have anything to do with Pat Freiermuth fumbling the ball. Both of those have more to do with the weather than anything. But by God, again, you're professionals and you're the Pittsburgh Steelers. You play in cruddy conditions half the year. It's always something. You can't make too many excuses. And defensively, I think there's plenty of blame to go there, because these linebackers aren't sticking to their gaps. That, or the defensive line, which I understand, very injured, isn't helping these linebackers by eating up blocks in the running game. Nobody's got gap integrity. Nobody really wants to tackle. And I mean, you're playing against a team where literally all they can do is run the ball. They have no faith in Jared Goff. Plus he's hurt. Plus he sucks. So they literally could not throw the ball. Their top passing option had 2 targets in the entire game. You've got to be able to perform under those circumstances when you know what the other team is going to do, adjust, and make plays. It doesn't matter that TJ got hurt. It doesn't matter that the defensive line has that many injuries. You're better than that. And you are. So do something about it.
I think that team is a better tackling team than they showed on Sunday. I can't even remember that day because I blacked it out of my mind.
I don't care what the excuses are. I've heard excuses like, oh, the Lions changed their scheme or some crap like that. I've never seen. The last time I saw a run defense get gashed like that, it was against Seattle 2 weeks ago, or however many weeks ago that was.
Yeah, we beat that team.
Well, we eventually figured out what they were doing and stopped it. And Ben was the quarterback. Yeah. I mean,
and to their credit, they did eventually put a stop to it. Like yes, in the second quarter they were gashed like crazy, but then in the second half they basically put a stop to it. And really, if you told me the Steelers would limit the Lions to 16 points, I'd say, oh, well, that's an easy win. 16 points is not the end of the world. It's not a poor defensive effort. Yes, the running game was horrible, and I mean, the Lions. Hey, if you think Goff sucks that much, put in the backup, because it was clear that Goff couldn't do anything. Either they didn't want him to pass or he couldn't pass. You can't then put out another human that could throw a ball, because that was ridiculous. Anything resembling an okay quarterback and the Steelers lose that game. Anything resembling an okay kicker and the Steelers lose that game.
Definitely,
it's insane.
Maybe. I mean, Rudolph, in his defense, they had kick positions in overtime to win the game. So it's the same.
The Freiermuth one, it happened. The Deontay one was completely careless. That was totally careless. All he had to do was lay down, and they basically win that game. Yeah. There was no excuse to be that careless.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason that we're all this quiet is because we're all just like, we don't have praise to speak on our team. We're all just a little like just on the team right now. Like, we're all just get better. Just do better. Like, that's all we want. We don't hate. We're not bad mouthing. We just want better. That's all.
It's all a matter of things. It's all a matter of things that you shouldn't have to tell professional football players. Hey, don't fumble the ball. Hey, don't throw a ball 20 feet in the air that's intended for a 5'8" wide receiver. Stick to your gaps. At least put a body on them when you go for a tackle. Those are all things that, like, the Steelers know. It doesn't, the circumstances, the injuries, the weather, they're just excuses that you can lean on. But
yeah,
it's really, not like the Steelers are
worthy of leaning on.
Really, what it was human nature. You take a look at an 0-8 team and say, we got this. Please. We just have to show up, and the Lions are just gonna lay down because they're an 0-8 team. Obviously, they're not gonna win. I don't even feel like they just laid down. I feel like they just didn't even practice basic fundamentals. They arm tackled and like just threw their arm out and like, yep, that's a tackle right there. The shoulder bump as a tackle is so annoying. Just stop it. Wrap around. Wrap.
Yeah. I mean, the shoulder bump tackle, I've been way too practiced in it in watching Philadelphia players tackle.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just the Steeler thing.
It's not. No, trust me. Trust me. The Eagles throw camps every year just to throw like an entire shoulder tackle camp. Just like, you can just throw your shoulder at him. It's fine. It's cool.
But you've alluded to that on Twitter, though, Joey, is the problems that the Steelers are not overcoming are things that other good teams in this league have dealt with and not been able to overcome against bad teams too. So that's where you can kind of sit back and look at it a little bit broader and say, okay, the season's not over. It's just one bad day. Bury it, move on. It's not like that game is going to make the Steelers get blown out by the Chargers, regardless of what the circumstances of that game are.
Oh, hell no.
Whether Ben's still out or, Minka's out, all the injuries that have piled up, if Watt and Joe Hayden are out, like all of those don't really matter. Like the Steelers are still
Watt's starting next week. They've already cleared him, I think.
He's
I
good
haven't
to go.
seen that anywhere. But regardless,
I don't know about that.
Regardless, none of those things are to the point where it's like, yeah, the Steelers can't overcome that, because for all the things that this team is facing, they're still a good football team. And like, this isn't a homers. I'm trying to make it not sound like it's so homer, but it's a well-coached football team that has good athletes, has good players that have overcome these types of odds before. Earlier in the season, Matt, for a matter of fact. So I still feel confident that they at least have a chance to win the game against Los Angeles, and that this game really doesn't speak to what the Steelers are. It just speaks to one bad day, and those happen in the NFL. So you kind of just have to, let it suck for a little while and then move on and see what's up next.
I mean, that's how the Joker got created. One bad day.
Yeah.
Luckily, the Steelers haven't turned into the Joker.
Hold up. I'm going to call Joe out. Name that comic.
Was that Killing Joke?
Yes.
All right.
Oh, so proud. So proud.
No, but I've seen it said that this is basically what the NFL wants, is that there's no super teams this year. Even, Arizona just got their bucket. Yes, they didn't have Kyler Murray or Hopkins
or any of their good players.
Right. But this is, the good teams are not that good and the bad teams are not that bad. So you get things like Jacksonville beating Buffalo and the Dolphins beating the Ravens and the Lions tying the Steelers and should have beaten them. That's what, it's the wonderfulness of the NFL, and that's why you should never bet on an NFL team, because there's so much unpredictable.
For a second,
what?
All right, so didn't the Jets beat the Bengals, right?
Yeah.
Beat the Titans at one point too.
Yeah, and we, quote unquote, didn't lose to the Lions. So I don't know. Maybe we take that as the team that was like supposed to punch us in the heart and beat us. Maybe we take that as like, okay, we didn't quite lose. We can still do this crap. Let's go.
Yeah.
Like maybe that's how we take this.
I mean, I guarantee the team thinks that they lost or treats it as a loss.
Oh,
so
trust me, I do.
And they're going to be mad. Now, to me, it is way too early to figure out what they're going to do against the Chargers, because I actually want to see who's going to play. There's a tiny chance Minka is going to play. Tiny chance. Maybe Ben will play. If Ben plays, I think they have a much better chance. But if TJ does not play, oh boy, forget about it. I'm sorry. He's a team. He's a team. They absolutely need him.
I honestly think they need to give the backup quarterbacks just a chance. Like Dwayne Haskins, give him a shot. Like nobody's given him a shot since Washington. Like in an actual NFL game, give him a shot. What do you got to lose? If you're going to do that,
you got to do it against the Lions, because that's an NFC game. You can't do that against the Chargers, because if he goes out there and he's god awful, then you just relinquish the drive in an AFC game that is not a given game. It's not a game.
Yeah, but if you do the same thing with Mason, but Mason is going to do the exact same thing every time you put him out on the field. Mason's garbage. I hate Mason. So
did we watch Dwayne Haskins in Washington? He's not a good quarterback.
Okay.
There's a reason he's our third string quarterback.
Did we watch Dwayne Haskins in that last preseason game look absolutely garbage? Yeah, he was good against third and fourth stringers in those first couple preseason games. I would put
better physicality and talent over somebody that's been with the team for 5 years and has never produced for this team.
Well, he's never been produced because he's not the quarterback. I mean,
he's never.
Just because he's unknown,
he's garbage.
I want to see Mason with a full week of practice. That would
I do
be
too.
No,
I do too.
No,
Mason did not
And
know
I'm not
he
making
was going to be
excuses
the
for
starting
him.
quarterback until Saturday. Like you can't
I
judge
will
too much.
Dwayne Haskins in cold versus freaking Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph is garbage.
Let's assume Deontay doesn't fumble. Let's assume or Freiermuth doesn't fumble, and they rattle off a last-second field goal.
Don't care
to win the game. We
don't care. Mason didn't play a good.
Treat this
Mason
totally
did
different.
not play a statistically good game.
He did not.
I would put Dwayne Haskins in again. Before that,
wasn't he 30 of 50 for like 220 yards, touchdown and a pick?
242 yards a touchdown.
That's not a bad statistical game.
It's not bad,
especially when you came in cold and didn't know you were going to be the starting quarterback until the day before the game.
Mason Rudolph is not going to win you a game. Dwayne Haskins has the ability to win you a game.
Don't know that. I think you're way overrated.
Call me out. Haskins. Call me out.
Okay.
Call me out.
Okay. Whether regardless of what you think and what I think and what we think, the coaching staff thinks that Mason gives them the best chance to win.
Oh, yes. And we always agree with the coaching staff on this podcast, right?
I tend to. Okay.
Running back that they always kept on the squad that you always agreed with.
I'm agreeing with a coaching staff that decided it was a good idea to throw 50 times in a freezing rain downpour. So, okay, maybe you got a point there.
Well, Nick Saban said something really smart yesterday about criticizing coaches and how, we as media, as fans, as whatever, we have full reign to have an opinion and voice it against the people that make the decisions in a football game. But what we don't have to deal with are the consequences if we're wrong on our opinion. The coaches, they do what they do based off of statistics and analytics and gut feelings and experience and all those different types of things.
And what they observe in practice and all that.
Right. Whereas, we can have informed opinions and have intelligent opinions. But when we're wrong, it absolutely doesn't matter. When they're wrong, they're subject to more scrutiny and they're subject to the actual consequences, such as losing and or tying a football game. And I know it's a bit of a cop-out and in a way of saying, well, just trust the coaches. When they're wrong, you just kind of deal with it. Sometimes coaches are bad, and they are, but the Steelers aren't. Like, the Steelers are one of the better teams in the NFL. They've had to deal with a lot of adversity, mostly through injuries and unavailabilities and those sorts of things. Do Tomlin coach teams tend to play down? Yes, but so do a lot of teams in the NFL. We're just hyper-focused on the Steelers because we're fans, analysts, whatever. So I think at the end of the day, when you kind of look, again, at the entire circumstances, Mason threw the ball 50 times because of A, overtime, and B, trying to come back in the game and try to win it, and C, because of what the game plan already was. And on top of all that, Detroit, despite being a very bad football team, is a physical team that focuses on running the football and stopping the run. Very old school coach team. So when Najee's not getting a lot per pop, he did have 100 yards in the game. It's not like we ignored him. He had 26 carries. You really can't continue to just fire off at, well, we did X, Y, and Z, and just by the numbers, because theoretically, based off of the situations of the game, it really doesn't all add up.
You also have to consider that Dotson left the game. I believe somebody else left the game also. There are two. I think like
Trey Turner left the game too.
Trey Turner left the game also.
Well,
so
both are starting guards,
right? So 2/5 of your starting offensive line is out. So it's kind of hard.
Green played like
yes, he did. He was. I mean, he lived up to that number 53 because he was sailing those balls over Mason's head. Sorry, man. Sorry, Mount Pouncey, but
flashbacks to January 2021.
Oh,
thank you.
All I'm saying, start Dwayne Haskins next game. Mason Rudolph can be cut for all I care. I do not like that. I do not think he has anything to add to this Steelers team.
Did you see?
Bro, Dwayne Haskins has already been cut in his career. That's how bad he is.
Did you see
he was also a number one pick, and they cut him for salary cap reasons.
No, they cut him because he has a cruddy attitude, and he threw 12 touchdowns to 14 interceptions and has a 3-10 career record in the NFL.
He is gonna end up being. I'm not saying he's gonna be like the savior. He's gonna be the next little Michael Vick quarterback that we have.
Michael Vick, he's not even athletic. He can't scramble. He's like Ben.
I'm okay.
Yeah, I understand he's like Ben. I'm not saying
I think what you mean is kind of like that backup kind of, like a good backup or a good, a serviceable quarterback.
We have to have this argument off the air, Jacob, because we're arguing entirely different things.
Okay, but did you see the Aditi saying that Haskins before the game had his cell phone out?
I don't care about that.
I don't even.
Aditi's look. I used to really like Aditi and respect her.
What reason? I don't know what this is.
She's changing his music. She is stirring pots.
I'm with you. I used to respect her, and I don't anymore.
I think she's
I don't know what we're talking
Twitter
about at this point.
There is a report. Look it up after this. She said, "Oh, it's disgusting. He's throwing lousy passes, and he's on his cell phone before the game and warm-ups before the game." Like alluding that he doesn't really care or he has a bad attitude or whatever the heck she means. I'm like, I don't know.
She's allowed social media and the way that she's been treated on social media by certain sects of this fan base to
is that a bad thing? I have no.
It's not a bad
preference
thing
for this because I don't go on social media. So
it's not a bad thing. He's probably changing his music. Like
I've lost respect for her. I just basically
I have to
ignore her. And I used to love her. I used to because she brought like a human side to stories. But when you do crap like this, you're just all right. So going to the National Enquirer. But anyway,
let's cut everything out. If you had to start a quarterback on Sunday, would you start Mason Rudolph or would you start anybody else? I mean,
I would start Mason Rudolph for the rest of the season if I had to.
I'm telling you,
really.
I'm telling you, you're way overvaluing Haskins, and here's why.
Because he's unknown.
Well, but they gave him a chance. I think that last preseason game, that was his audition. That was his job interview because he was playing with the ones. He was playing against the ones, and he did horrible. He did what he did in Washington, which is basically just captain check down. Did not go deep at all. Just he was absolutely horrible. And I think that was very telling. I think maybe someday in the future, maybe a year from now, maybe next season, maybe he'll be okay with a good off season. But it ain't it now. He needs that time.
And I'm telling you right now, next year, the quarterbacks on this team will be Mason Rudolph, Dwayne Haskins, and whoever they draft, because they're drafting one, whether it's first, second, third round. Those will be the quarterbacks. Dwayne Haskins will not win the job. Mason Rudolph will start every game that he is healthy enough to play, and that's the end of it.
If they trade or get somebody in free agency.
Or we'll get Aaron Rodgers.
Possibly.
All right. So straight up, we should have gotten Cam Newton.
No.
We should have gotten him while he was in free agency.
No. Absolutely not.
Tell me why.
Because he's got a cruddy attitude.
And may have scored two touchdowns.
On from the 2-yard line against the Cardinals, who, I mean, they're decimated right now.
I mean, he knows that the Panthers, that makes sense for him to go to the Panthers. The reason why he was out of work for 8 or 9 weeks is because the Patriots knew he wasn't going to be a backup. He wasn't going to allow himself or have the right attitude to be a backup to Mac Jones. And you can't ask him to be a backup to Ben. Ben will be back either this week or next week. This COVID thing is not lasting forever. If Ben was out for the rest of the year, okay, maybe you consider.
Okay, then
Cam
next week you start Josh Dobbs, Dwayne Haskins.
Dobbs is on the practice
Mason
squad,
Rudolph.
my guy. Like,
no,
Josh
wait.
Dobbs.
They just
I would start Josh Dobbs over every one of them. That man is a freaking rocket scientist. I would start him over everybody.
They just signed a fourth or fifth string quarterback. That's who Andrew would rather have instead of.
I would rather have Josh Dobbs. Get Josh Dobbs back. I don't care. I don't care who he is.
I hear he's a rocket scientist. Anyway, let's move on.
I wonder what Rudolph's career stats are compared to Haskins. I bet they're monstrous.
Interesting. We should not look that up. But another thing I want to bring up is Devin Bush, and he is absolutely horrible right now. And but from what I hear is it's not all his fault. This line is just, it ain't it. Bugs.
Except for Cameron Hayward, I can't point to anybody that's like doing their job right.
But look who you have. You got
Taco and
it's supposed to be Cam, Tuitt, and Alu, and it's Cam and a 6th rounder and a crappy free agent and just crap, and they're just not doing the job.
First, I laughed because I did finally pull up Rudolph's stats. He is 5-4-1 as a starting quarterback, 16 to 11 touchdown interception ratio. But moving on, I totally agree that most of the problem with the linebackers, because Joe Schobert's not playing well either. He's not able to stay committed to his gaps either, and it has a lot to do with the defensive line. You got a Taco out there on the edge who doesn't really know what he's doing. You got a Tuska out there who's about as mobile as the statue out on University Boulevard in Tuscaloosa, named after him. But it's the interior is not good. Isaiah Buggs is not a good football player. He's made strides. He's made improvements, but he's never going to be good enough to be a starting player on this defense.
When are we getting to it back? Like, when is that happening?
Never.
When he's available.
He's not. I hate to say it. He's
quote unquote.
He's out for the year. I don't know why. I don't know why they're. I don't know if it's up there. I think he has a knee injury. I don't know. But anytime that they ask about him, it's like he's miles away from coming back. He's not even close to coming back.
Bro, Zach Banner's closer to coming back, and he can't get on the field. Like. Even when he's dressed out, can't get on the field.
Okay, Zach Banner, Anthony McFarland. What's going on there? Okay,
I think with Zach, his body's just not cooperating.
Anthony McFarland's been on the field. Where's Zach Banner? I haven't seen him on the field.
He doesn't even dress.
He dressed. He dressed Sunday.
Scratch. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
he dressed Sunday.
He dressed Sunday. I saw him on the sideline, but I think his body's just not cooperating. I mean, you're talking about a 6'9", 350-pound dude. Like, his body's just not cooperating.
He needs to stop forcing it. He needs to just go. Like, honestly, like, this sounds terrible to say. Go to bed and let your knee rest.
I think it's more than that.
Get your knee in its proper place and just let it rest. Like, that sounds terrible, but I've done terrible things to my knees before, and that has helped.
You're not 6'9" and 350 pounds.
I'm also, yes, again, I'm not that size, but I have done terrible things to my knees.
Or an NFL caliber.
But you have to, I mean, if the team says you're medically cleared, if the team says you're cleared to play, you got to go out there.
You have to define, yes, but you have to define cleared to play, because it's also the player also gets a say in that.
If you're dressed, you're good to go. Half the thing
but a player
also
gets a say in that. But a player gets a say in that, and that doesn't mean they're necessarily medically cleared. Like that doesn't mean they're necessarily the best in the best place. They may be medically cleared,
well, that's
but they're not in the best place.
That's
medically.
the thing. There's basically 3 states that a player is in: healthy, injured, can't play, and injured and can play. And he's injured and can play, but how injured is he is the question. And even though he's medically cleared,
yes, but it's his.
If you get a helmet, you're good enough to play. I don't care.
Yeah.
Look at Tua last Thursday. You get a helmet, you're good enough to play.
That's an entirely different injury.
It is a completely different injury, but it was a guy who wasn't okay to play, so he was a backup. But once he got in the game, he was good enough to play. It was clear and obvious. But the other standpoint to the Zach Banner deal is the fact that even though Dan Moore hasn't played well, when he hasn't played really well, has been against really elite pass rushers. Everybody else, he's been all right. He's been serviceable. He's shown something that you can build upon. Chucks has been good since the first part of the season. I haven't had really any.
He's not Chooks. He's not. Yeah, he's not.
He's not Cheeks anymore.
but
Well,
that's the thing.
That's the biggest thing. How do you take one of those tackles out, especially now that you have 2 injuries at guard, and just be like, yeah, Zach, go on back out there. Knee and everything. That's just not intelligent.
Yeah, you're not throwing them in at guard. You're not moving. If you move people around, you're just making the thing worse.
Right.
So
You're changing for the sake of it, and change for the sake of it in football is never a good thing.
Yeah. McFarland, that's another one. Like, boy.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's good.
Yeah, that's
he just can't get upfield.
So it's that was a bust. That's a shame.
I wish that wasn't the case because I was really high on him and coming out of that draft. I wanted him the whole way.
If he could pick a straight line and just run in it, like I would be so high on that guy because he could just bust, like he could be a Willie Parker and just bust like a 79-yard run and just be gone.
But at the same time, if something were to happen to Najee, then who would you want out there? You'd want 2 bell cow type backs in Balaj and Benny Snell.
and Belly.
Yeah. So,
which by the way, when that is a case where Najee is sitting or whatever, and they have either Snell or Balaj in there, it's a disaster.
Almost every time.
That is never going to happen.
Almost
you
every
bite your
time.
tongue.
He's been dealing with injuries all season.
Yeah, but
yeah, I just I don't know how you guys feel about this team right now, but I'm very middle of the road on this team right now.
I'm telling you what.
Go ahead.
They could easily beat the Chargers, and then we'll be saying, "Oh my God, they're so good! Oh my God,
look what they did with backups. Woo!
Yeah, oh my God, this is it. This is the team." But I think that's just the NFL. I think that's every team in the NFL. One week it's like, "Oh my God, they're unbeatable." Next team it's like, "God, what is wrong with?"
All right,
people?
so I'll level with you guys a little bit. I do like that the NFL is back to being the any given Sunday, like any team could beat any team. Like the Jets randomly beat the Bengals. Like who saw that coming? Nobody saw that coming. That was an out of the cranium game.
I'm loving it. I'm
like, oh no, but that's what I'm loving about it too. I'm loving that as a football team, or as a football fan, but I'm hating it as a Steelers fan.
Right.
Because we just tied the goddamn Lions.
But
that is so stupid.
How can you hate it when they're a half game out of first in a very competitive, tough division?
Yeah,
because we still tied the goddamn Lions.
But still, they didn't lose to the
playoffs
Lions.
If the playoffs were tomorrow, Steelers would be in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I know.
Not the Browns.
Yeah,
I mean, 3 weeks ago, every team in this division looked unreal, and the Steelers are one of 4 teams that have looked like absolute dog doo the past 2 weeks too. So what do you
remember?
You go with it. It's a long season. We're barely halfway through.
Remember, look where we started. They beat the Bills, and then they looked absolutely horrible against the Raiders, Bengals, and Packers. Horrible. And look at them now. That they've won 4 in a row and are lossless in their last 5 because
hey, all I'm saying is statistically, the Browns, the Bengals, the Ravens, and the Steelers can all make the playoffs.
it's possible.
That can actually happen. Statistically, that can happen.
Sure.
And we would be the first division to do it. And I would stand there like arms stretched, proud as crap, to be like, tell me there's a better division in football. Because everybody has always argued about that, and I've always said AFC North is the best division in football.
What do you think they're saying in Cleveland right now? They didn't lose. They didn't barely lose. They got destroyed by the
Patriots. Yeah.
By the way,
Jones.
by Mac Jones.
Roll Tide.
Hey.
Roll Tide.
Who was it? I think it was.
It would not be a podcast without the Roll Tide.
Did you see what Honey Badger said?
Yeah.
He basically said, all you draft experts that are kissing his butt now are the ones that were trashing him months ago I had
no idea who Mac Jones was coming in.
Mac Jones.
I didn't care.
Trashed the living hell out of him because of that dad bod of him smoking that cigar with the dad bod. This is an NFL quarterback. Boy, was I wrong. I am very sorry. As soon as I saw that he went to the Patriots, I thought, oh crap, this is a perfect marriage. Like if he ended up in Jacksonville or some crap like that, I don't think he would have been that good. But him on the Patriots, I'm not saying he's the next Tom Brady, but he's perfect for them. They are perfect for each other, and they're just getting better, and it's disgusting. We had 1 season, we had 1 year of crappy Patriots teams. That's it. In the last 22 years, we got
You're ready to
season.
anoint Mac Jones that highly.
Have you seen him? He's throwing pinpoint passes. He's getting better every
I
week.
am not ready to anoint that man.
Crown his ass. I'm telling you. Crown his ass.
I know Jacob's ready. Roll Tide.
Hey.
I told you so. That's all I'm saying.
There you go.
I told you so.
You would
know.
know.
Wrong podcast for this.
You would know. You would know, Jacob. Yeah.
Oh, good Lord.
But
so,
yeah.
All right. Can we get back to like the actual team, like the Steelers? Like, do we think they're going to win
suppose.
next week?
I mean, what else is there? What else is there to say about the Steelers? It's like it's
Najee Harris is legit. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
What
was that sigh about?
No, the sigh is.
Oh, that was just me going Roll Tide. Like,
okay, no,
I know.
Well, the sigh from me was the sigh at all the experts, probably the same ones that trashed Mac Jones, are probably saying, "Why did you take a running back in the first round? Oh my God!" Well, you know what? Also, not taking an offensive line in the second round kind of turned out okay because Muth is the truth. I stole that from someone else.
Muth is
Muth is amazing. Green, I think eventually is going to be good. Dan Moore, I don't know, but it's looking like a really good draft.
Yeah, I think the fact that they get so much out of this draft class, I mean, pretty much everybody except for Buddy Johnson has been pretty productive. Trey Norwood should honestly probably be vying for that slot corner at some point.
Trey Norwood
he's been great.
He's been awesome.
Percy Harvin's been great. Isaiah Loudermilk has looked good at times. And we're right. I mean, the 2 offensive linemen, who knows? But no, I mean, I think in reality, you made the best of both worlds because at the point where the Steelers took Najee, there was like no offensive lineman taken for quite a minute until Tevin Jenkins was taken. And Landon Dickerson, those are 2 guys that had huge injury red flags on draft day. So why would you have done that? So in reality, they did the best thing for themselves. You can improve your running game with just the running back until the offensive line is built. Now, the problem is that in the next 2 seasons, you need to rebuild this offensive line and get a quarterback. So you have to do one of those things in free agency. I know the Steelers hate to do that, but you need to hit it big with a young player at one of those spots. Will they do it? I don't know. But at the very least, you've got a strong core to build off of just from this one draft class, because all of these guys are contributing, except for Buddy Johnson, and that's just a depth thing. But overall, I'm pretty pleased with it.
This team is
a
going to
superstar. Muth
Yes.
is a superstar.
Exactly. Usually when you draft someone and if they are lucky enough to contribute in their rookie year, it's toward the middle or the end of the season. These players were asked to contribute from day one, and they did. But Najee was a beast from day one. That is so impressive. These offensive linemen, yes, they started out bad, but they got better. These asking a rookie to come in, to step in to the NFL and to contribute right away, and they did. So impressive.
Yeah, it kind of speaks a little bit to some poor drafts before, though, because this didn't used to be a thing. This is a lot of rookies. Usually, when you play in this many rookies, you're not very good.
Here's what I don't get. They had the same offensive line for like 10 years.
Felt like it.
At almost no point during that period did they do anything to replace any of those people. They just said, we're riding with Foster and Pouncey and Villanueva and DeCastro, and we're just going to ride with them. Like,
they didn't realize that they were going to have to replace 3 out of everybody.
Okay.
They thought Pouncey was going to be back. DeCastro and Villanueva were going to be back. And they thought maybe they'd have to replace 2 out of those. And they were completely wrong, clearly. So,
well, they could have still made an effort at it over the past 2 years, because they did know
valid.
They did know that they were going to lose somebody soon. Villanueva and Pouncey started not to play as well. Yeah. DeCastro was a blindsider, and losing the big guy out to LA was not something that was at all expected. But I mean, the way I see it, replacing 4 out of 5 guys, that's not about all you can ask them to do. That's a difficult thing to do. Nobody ever has to do that.
It's basically impossible.
Oh yeah.
It's basically
no good way to go about it.
It's rarely been done.
And it's impossible to gel like next to those same like people you've never met before. Like just lock. Yeah, that's a weird scenario to go into.
And they started out horribly, and they've gotten better. So credit to
they
them.
Have.
Credit to the coaches.
They have seemed surprisingly better.
And I will give the Pouncey was only 32, so I guess that was unexpected for him to,
But they knew in the playoff game.
I guess, yeah, exactly.
They knew at least that early. If they knew before then, who knows?
Right.
The DeCastro one came as a surprise, though.
Completely.
Yeah.
They totally expected him to still be there.
And
so okay.
And DeCastro gets his blessings for everything he did for this team, and like he took that because he's afraid that he's not going to be able to move his shoulder in the near future if he does, if he keeps going. So like, go do your thing, dude. Like that's never.
Fun fact: Marquise is not his first name. Marquise is actually his middle name. He is Marquise's Pouncey's first name is actually LaShawn. I'll give you another tidbit.
Okay.
Carrot Top is the son of a NASA engineer. I just learned that today.
Are we just dropping random things?
Why not?
Why not?
Oh, okay.
Why not? It's better than talking about Devin Bush sucking.
Yeah, well, yeah, he did.
Or
he
Dwayne
was pretty
Haskins'
terrible.
completion
All right,
percentage.
what Marvel stuff do I know? Oh, the new Spider-Man trailer drops at 8:30 tonight. Oh, so there should be a new Spider-Man No Way Home trailer tonight, right now.
Okay,
everyone should go watch that. That should be a thing. That should be happening.
Are they beating the Chargers? With what limited information we know, Are they beating the Chargers? I say yeah. I think the Chargers
I'm gonna
are a
say
bit
yeah.
of a. It's all. I think it's all on TJ. If TJ can play, I'm afraid to ask. If TJ can play, I think they beat them. And if Hayden is the key.
I love that Andrew said, yeah, I'll say yeah. When Mason Rudolph's going to be the quarterback in this game. And earlier,
Look, the Spider-Man
we have
trailer
no
dropped
shot with
today.
Mason.
We're winning.
I think we have a very good chance to win. But I'm not gonna predict that we're gonna win.
The cool thing is, I think it's gonna be a home game for the Steelers. I don't think
it's possible. I mean,
it's happened before.
I don't know how obvious it is in SoFi. Remember, they were in that small soccer stadium for the past 2 years. Now they're in SoFi. It's a little bit less clear and obvious to the folks at home. But I mean, Steelers fans travel anyway, so they'll be there. But
I think
LA is a very good team, and they've been in a rut here. So this is one of those kind of games that they circle and like, okay, this is a chance where we can get back to normal. So I kind of expect that they'll do that. So I don't think the Steelers will win, but I think that they're good enough to have an opportunity to, and I won't be surprised if they do.
See, that's why I was so scared to play the Lions, because they haven't won yet. If they were 1-7, I think if they were 1-7, I think the Steelers would have had an easier chance. But when you don't get that one win yet, you really fight for that. And the Chargers have lost a bunch. They've lost 3 out of their last 4. So that's not good. That's not good news for the Steelers. They're due for a win.
Need to.
So for that reason, I'm not. I mean, and Herbert is good. But I would much rather have Herbert running for his life, running from TJ Watt, than not. So if there's no TJ, the Steelers don't have a chance.
I think that speaks to how good TJ is how decimated that front is. Highsmith,
TJ and Cam are having amazing seasons.
But at least Highsmith, I thought he played really well against the Lions. So if he comes on, then that helps that defense.
I think there are times where he wasn't that good because he was just over pursuing or whatever. But
but he's learning. He doesn't have the TJ Watt like instant kill mode. Like he doesn't have that instantaneous mentality. So
apparently Melvin Ingram is killing it in Kansas City, and that really pisses me off. That whole situation pisses me off. I know, but
Bye-bye.
God, imagine him if he's on the Steelers. I'd be feeling a little bit better with Highsmith and Melvin Ingram than Highsmith and Taco.
Yeah. I agree.
Taco's a cool name, but he ain't doing diddly squat.
I really hope he does. So
you hope Haskins does something. I mean, we're all full of hope today.
I mean, Taco's been in the NFL for 6 years.
He's
never done a thing.
Put in Dobbs. I have faith in Dobbs.
Is Doc available?
I saw a decent quarterback in Dobbs.
Your argument against Mason was, I don't want a guy who's been here for 5 years and has never done anything. And that's literally Josh Dobbs.
Josh Dobbs has done more in his preseason stuff than freaking Mason Rudolph.
Dobbs
spent 3 passes.
Dobbs spent some time in Jacksonville, so he wasn't totally.
That was only because they traded him, and they traded him. They got things for him. That's more than you can say for Mason Rudolph. Who you trade Mason Rudolph for right now? Nothing.
Dead silence from us.
Not much.
All right, guys. I think we can stop the I think we've restarted.